So I want to talk about this vision I had during one of my prayer times. So during one of my prayer times, I had this vision where I had walked from the world and had left the world behind. And the world that left behind was this, everybody was living in mud. The whole world was covered in this dirty mud. The children, the mothers, the fathers, everybody was covered in the mud, and I didn't want to be in the mud anymore. And I knew of this celestial city that was like at the very edge of where I was living. And so I journeyed days to the celestial city. When I in the town, the world knew of the celestial city, but they didn't want to go there because they said those people are too righteous. They're overly righteous. We like the dirt. We want to stay in the dirt, so we don't want to go. So I was the last one I'd left. Before I had left, no one wanted to journey to the celestial city. So I journeyed on this road on my own because I wanted a better life. And I went to the celestial city. Now, the celestial city is at the very end of a cliff. So the only way to cross to the other side is through this bridge. And this bridge, there was a gate. The gate of this area, when you walk in, was made of stone. So the front part of it was of stone, and attached to it was also a white building. And then there was the bridge. And once you crossed the bridge, then you went over into the celestial city. But you first have to go to the gate. So when I got to the gate, there was this man there, and I knew that he was Jesus. He represented Jesus in my vision. And so when I came, I was so dirty and I was so filthy, and I said, I want to come in, I want to stay here. And then he was like, are you sure? And I said, yes, I am sure. I don't want to go back out there in the mud and in the dirt. I want to be clean. And then he says, well, once you have, like, it was like, you have to be sure, because what's the point if I put you in this garment, I give it to you, and then you change your mind and you go back out and you get it dirty again. And I said, no, I will not change my mind. I will not go back out. I want to stay here. I know that for sure, that I have examined where I'm coming from, and there's nothing that in me that wants any part of that world. I said zero. And so he had the garment folded up that he was going to give it to me. And the garment was like the purest garment I could ever think of. It had power in it. But the power of the garment would not let you come close to it unless it knew that you were going to be changed forever. Like, you were not, like, it had power, and it was not just going to let you come near it. It was very, very scary. So the garment itself was testing my spirit to see if there was any part of me that desired to go back out into the mud, to go back out into dirt, to go back out into sin. So as I was standing there with Jesus, and he had this white garment, and this white garment, even though he was washed and it was folded, it still had the wrinkles in it. And I didn't know at the time, like, I didn't know what the wrinkles meant, if I was the one that was going to iron it out, but I knew. But I knew that I was worthy of the garment, because it had tested me and found that I had no desire of the world left in me, and that I was not going to go back and chase the things of the world that I came from. So as I stood there, like, Jesus now was there showing me, like, this is the brown part of the building was like the area where you would wash, where you would be cleansed. Once you are cleansed and you put on the garment, like he's giving me the instruction, once you're cleansed and you put on this garment, then once you walk through the brown stone of the building, the wash area, the cleansing area, you're going to go into the white part. And in that white part is a library with desks. That's like a student area where you will learn. You will learn things, and you can take books, and then you will cross the bridge and go over into the celestial city. In fact, people from the celestial city was crossing over into this area because there were books there were students there, people that were coming in through that brown area, the washroom area. They needed to be taught things, they needed to be learned things. But once you enter into the area that was white, it's two buildings attached together. One part is brownstone and one part is complete white. The brown part of the building is where the gate is when you come in, where the washroom, the toilet is, where anything that was on you that was impure, you were going to get rid of. You were going to be washed, you were going to be cleansed. Then you put on the robe. And once you put on the robe, you will go in the area where all the books are. It's like a huge library, and you will learn things there. But these are secret things that you will learn, that you cannot have this knowledge and go back into the world with it. It was not allowed. So as I was there talking to Jesus, two men left. When I saw the two men, they were walking, they were talking, they were happy, and they were wearing the white garment. Now, the minute you got cleansed and you put on the white garment and you went back out into the gate, which represents the world, the garment immediately started to collect dirt. It's like the earth, everything around that, outside of that gate, was sinful. Like, it's like you step into a sinful atmosphere. It's like the entire creation was in sin. So these two men that were allowed to leave, they were leaving to go witness to the rest of the world, to the people that I had left behind. They were going to go witness. But they were given special abilities, special garments, where when they were walking on this dirt road to journey into this town, to journey into this world, no dirt could get on them. And in this, the dirt represented sin. They would not become unclean by going out in the world. Just from leaving that place, the celestial city, and going back to that brown gate, everything outside of that gate, you become unclean again. Once you step foot outside of that washroom area, that gate, you become unclean. And so there was a spirit that was up from the bottom of their feet. So when they were walking, no dirt, no sin could come at them. So that even their garments would still remain white and spotless throughout this mission that they were sent on. There was two of them. I would just remember them clearly, like they were so happy and they were so excited to leave. And they were the two witnesses that left to go tell, because I was the last one that went through that gate. There was no one coming through that gate after me. So now the two men left and they went to go preach the gospel. They had the Bible in their hands and they left. And they were the only ones that was allowed to leave from the celestial city to go out, and they had to be protected. They had to have a special covering so that the atmosphere, sin could not touch them anymore. But if they did not have that protection, it's like sin would be allowed to touch them. Sin could enter in. So they had this protection upon them when they went walking out into the world to go and witness. Now, I knew that I was the last one, because before I went to the celestial city, I had begged everyone I came across with, asking them to journey with me, to come with me. But no, they knew of this place, they knew of the celestial city, but they didn't want to leave it. They had their kids that was just dirty, mud all over them. They did not want to be clean. They're like, we don't want to be close to those people. We don't want to be they're too holy, holier than thou. They're too righteous, they're too clean, they're too pure, and they didn't want any part of it. So when I left, I had begged and I had tried to see who would go with me. So I knew I was the last holy one that was like the only one that was willing to be clean that had left. Now in this vision, I knew that I somehow represented the church. That out of the world, the church is going to try to minister, the church will minister and try to encourage people to be holy, to come. Let's go to the celestial city together. Jesus is coming back. Let's go. And they're not going to want it, because they're going to love the sin of this world, the things of this world, more than they didn't want to be stripped of sin. They wanted to maintain their sin. And I knew that was the church. Like once I came out of the vision, I understood that it was the church. And the church will be made new and be given a new garment, and the church will learn secret things. And it's like astonishing the way I saw that the church, like being washed, be clean. And then once you're clean, you will enter a room of knowledge, a library room with scholars. Like you have like saints that are scholars, angels that will be there to teach you things. And once you learn those things, you're not allowed to leave, because now you know secret things, hidden things that cannot leave they cannot leave the celestial city and go into the world. You cannot take this hidden knowledge into the world. It has to remain into the celestial city, and only those who have permission now could leave. Once you enter, you were not allowed to leave, and if you leave, sin could fall on you again. It was so clear how, like, when the Bible talk about, like, when the world fell into sin, all of creation moans and groans, that the very atmosphere is filled with sin and contamination. And like when you leave and go on to minister to the saints, that you have to be covered. So it explained to me a lot why the sons of God sinned once they left heaven and they were on earth, in a sinful earth, and they left their abode, how sin got on them. Because if you left without this special protection on you, you will fall into sin. But these two witnesses were obedient. They were not going to do anything that would make their garment become dirty. They were going to keep the protection on them. And while I was being washed and be cleansed, that's when they left. So I never got to see me crossing over into the celestial city. I only saw where I was be washed, and then I'm in the room of the white part where it's the student area. Well, now you're going to be learning secret things. And once you're beginning to learn the secret things, the world, you no longer have access to the world. You're removed. You're not allowed to leave with this. But the garment ensures that you have no desire of the world before it allow you to put it on. So everybody who put on this garment had no intention of returning to the world. And so that was a vision I received while I was praying. So I hope that we continue to seek God so that we can have a clear vision of our lives, the days ahead, and the mission that He wants us to accomplish through the work of the Holy Spirit, so that we can fulfill every part of the work that the church needs to finish, so that we can all enter the celestial city together. And I pray that this bless you, and that this will encourage you to continue to pray and continue to ask God for vision for your own life, to have dreams, for Him to minister to your soul so you feel closer to Him in this hour where it's so much needed and so much necessary for your life and for your well-being and for your future. So may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord turn His face towards you and give you peace. Amen.